Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the workshop. It's fantastic to have you here because we have been working on a Damascus steel rapier. We've been putting a lot of work into it. A lot of work. I hope that you've enjoyed this series. Hopefully, today we're going to finish it. Thank you for joining me. We're going to do some work on the pommel. I clearly didn't think that through well enough. Time to go back to the lathe and start again. Right, so here's our pommel that we have, which we have roughed out here. Here's the little screw that's going to tighten in. We're now going to weigh it. We're going to see how close we are. I didn't really take a huge amount of dimensions. The CAD drawing I made called for a 60 mil diameter piece. I had 55 and I didn't really want to do 60. So hopefully we're on track with the weight, at least close enough. Kind of plus or minus 75 grams, I don't think would be too much of an issue. All right, so let's weigh it. Oh, 100 grams under. Man, that sucks, because that was just so proportionally beautiful. So proportionally beautiful. Like, I don't want it to be any bigger. It would look so much worse. Right, well, I'm either going to stand around here and mope about it, or we're going to do something about it. Time to get back into the lathe. We're going to take a bigger piece of steel, and we're going to make another one that has that extra 100 grams of mass. Right, so the first one weighed 342 grams. Are you kidding? Oh my goodness. I'm such a nincompoop. Well, finally, there we go. That took a while, but I'm pleased that at least now we can work and remove material to get it to balance perfectly, rather than having to glue lathe chips on. Now this is a big learning lesson for me. Here I am, so excited that I'm so close to finishing the rapier after having spent 15, 16 days working on this thing, meticulously measuring every single thing that I did before, even going to the effort to make a CAD drawing. I thought I thought, I can just eyeball it. And so I eyeballed the first one. Came out light. On the second one, still. I thought, I'll just make it a little bit bigger. I'll start with some larger stock and I'll eyeball it again. Still too light. This is the dangerous part of a project. We are nearing the finish line, and it's now the last 5 or 10% of a work, of time spent, that's going to really mean that this piece is 80% as good as it could be, or 95 or 100% as good as it could be from what it is that we have already. So I need to be careful. I need to make sure that I'm concentrating as much as I have up to now, and I need to make sure that I'm not rushing to the finish line, because that is going to be bad, and I'm not going to do this project justice. That is a little bit of a check for me there. Having to redo those things so many times, that is my own fault. I need to work on that, and hopefully you guys can learn a little bit from my mistakes there. And hopefully when you make your own project and you get close to the finishing line, you don't do what I do, which is just completely ignore all the measurements that are freely accessible on the computer. I'm still got learning to do. Into the grinding room we go. And we're going to stick this on a drill, and we're going to grind this. We are also... or maybe we're going to do something else first. So, here, some transfer blue. Here, our handle with the 2 dowel pins in the back. Transfer blue on the die pins, and on my fingers. Dowel pins. Did I say die pins? And now, we will take this that we've just turned up, and we'll press it onto the dowel pins, and now we got 2 little blue marks. I can now take my lovely Starrett center punch, line it up, and this way, as we grind this oval, because this needs to be oval, we can make sure that we're grinding it while indexing it to the pins, so it's indexed on the handle. First need to drill these holes, and then it's to the grinder. So guess who was rushing again and snapped a drill bit? Who snapped the drill bit? But I did not snap the... I did snap the drill bit. Right, well, now time to rotate it and get 2 more indexing marks. Just further helping reduce the weight, you know. Has nothing to do with me snapping a drill bit or anything, you know. Just need extra holes. Right, so now we'll see how it fits. Yeah, I'm not a major fan of that. I'm going to face this off a little bit. See, the trouble is, that tang isn't quite centered, so we're going to need to grind it into center, which means that this still needs to be thicker. There we go. That's a lot more like it. So this sits a little low on this end of the handle. It's just how the tang and the handle lines up. And I wanted to make sure that we have enough material here to properly radius it in and heirloom fit it into the handle. And thankfully, now we do have enough material to work with. Well, let's do the fit up. Okay, so these pieces have had their black oxide finish. They're sitting in some water now. Now, while that was happening, of course, we threaded the tang, and then I went over the blade all the way up again to 600 grit. We did some big, long strokes of the whole piece to make sure that we have one consistent scratch line running up each bevel. I had to do a little bit of tweaking at the start of the bevels where some things weren't even. This is now ready for the etch, but to make the etch work best, I want to try a little America Massey trick. We are going to go to the store and we're going to buy some coffee. And we're back, and I've got enough coffee. I actually have 2 more of these, but we've got enough coffee for what it is that we want to do. It is now time to go into the ferric chloride for the etch. I'm over back at the other side of the workshop giving the blade a little bit more of a degrease. We want to make sure there's no oil on it. The oil will stop the etch from happening, so it'll leave splotches. It is time for the etch. Hang on. Oh, I didn't think about this. Oh no! Are you kidding? It's not time for the etch. I thought I would never outgrow this etch tube. And this is too long. That's hilarious. Anyway, it's gonna be the morning the next time you see me. Right, it is the next morning. Welcome back. It's not really much different for you, but for me, what I've just done this morning is on the way in, I went to town, I got myself some more drainage pipe. I've gone ahead and put some end caps on it. We've mixed up a batch of ferric chloride. Hopefully it's all nice and evenly mixed in a 1:4 ratio. 1 part ferric, 3 parts water. And now, after having degreased the blade again, we go into, yes, it just about makes it. We now go into the etch. Woo! This is pretty stressful stuff. What I'm now gonna do. Oh, wow. Oh my. No! Ah! Ah! Ah!
All right, can we go back to the etch now?
Okay. So, okay, that makes me feel a little better about the 17 days of work. The pattern looks pretty incredible. Okay, let me sit down, explain what I just did. I looked at the pattern to make sure there was no splotches of oil or anything like that, any debris stuck to it before we leave it in there for the 20 minutes. Because any oil, any debris, it's going to stop the etch and it's going to mean that it doesn't look as amazing as it now looks. This looks amazing. It really, really does. I can't wait to show you. But we've got stuff to do first. We need to make some coffee. We're making up an Alec Steele amount of coffee. This will keep you lively enough to make YouTube videos just like this for days. Now, while some of that coffee is working, I want to try another thing that I've seen Liam Hoffman do, which is to take the piece out halfway through the etch and give it a gentle scrub with a 2000 grit. Oh, that coffee's smelling good. I can smell it from here. Now we'll rinse it off in some water. I'll give it another little wash. And now it's back in the ferric chloride for another 10 or 15 minutes. So it's been in there for about kind of 23, 25 minutes total. Now the depth of the etch is just so that with a fingernail you can feel the little discrepancies in height between the etched material and the non-etched material. What we're now going to do is we're going to come out of the ferric chloride. We're going to let the ferric chloride dribble off. And now we're going to go into some water and bicarbonate of soda. And again, this tank is too small. And I'm going to shake it because it's too small. What this is going to do, this is going to neutralize the acid and mean that we're ready to go to the polishing before we use up all that coffee. So what we've done is we've gone ahead and filled that up with coffee. The froth is a little misleading. It's difficult to tell where the coffee starts and stops. Oh, I haven't filled it up enough. So we filled it up with coffee. Now this is a trick I heard Mareko Maumausi talk about on a Knife Talk episode. Now he makes kitchen knives, and he was looking for a way to make sure that he could increase the contrast of his Damascus in a way that his clients, once the Damascus faded over use, could also reproduce. He found using coffee worked really well. So you polish the thing up. We were using 2000 grit sandpaper that I rubbed together, another trick I learned from him on that podcast. Rubbing together the sandpaper breaks down any of the high spots and makes it a little bit finer. He uses 2500 grit, and then you set it in the coffee and you leave it until, supposedly, things blacken a little bit more. I'm completely over the moon. I'm completely shocked that this is done. It doesn't feel like after whatever 16, 17 days this thing actually could be done. But this has been the most complicated project I've ever undertaken. This has been the most enjoyable project I've ever undertaken. It's just been absolutely fantastic. I am super, super excited to take what it is that I've learned from this and apply it on future projects, because I tell you, this has been a learning experience. So please, please, make sure that if this is the first video that you're watching on the channel, you go and watch some more. Make sure you go watch this series, enjoy it. And if you do, please do hit subscribe. I'd be thrilled to take you along with the next build here in the workshop. We make daily videos about what gets done. Over the past couple of weeks, it's been this. I'm looking forward to trying something new. I'd love to hear your suggestions for future projects down below. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at Alec Steele. Subscribe to this channel, give it a like, share it with your friends. I'm going to be really, really excited to see you on the very next episode. Thank you so much for joining me this entire way. Thank you to all of you guys that have bought merchandise to allow these videos to be created. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm going to see you tomorrow on the next episode.